everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. I'm up here again at Anderson Farms. They've got all kinds of cool events. They got music, they got food, carnival games, petting zoos, corn mazes, zombie paintball shoots, which we're gonna do tonight, and some other cool stuff. If you wanna see about what that zombie paintball shoot's about, I'll put a video link in the description below. But today we're gonna take a look at an awesome Sony tape recorder, but even more interesting than the tape recorder itself was what I found on one of these tapes. You're not gonna wanna miss this. This amazing little shop called Joe's Treasure Trove, and I'd driven by it a couple of times, and I finally went in when I saw the sign that said 5,000 records. So it's amazing. Here's a few pictures from inside there. I didn't want to walk around filming because I thought that'd be awkward, but a really cool store. Got a few things from there, including what we're looking at today. They've got equipment, they've got records. It's a really interesting story. So it's run by a husband and wife. And there was a kid in there, maybe 22, like my son's age or younger, working there. Really nice kid, had blue hair, so you know he was cool. And just a really nice guy. He was very educated on everything. But he told me that the store actually was the estate of his grandpa, whose name was Joe. And so the collection, the estate of grandpa, ended up, forming the basis for this store. And everything you see is from that collection. I think they buy vinyl, but that's about it. Everything else is acquired through that collection. Anyway, so I picked up this. This is a Sony TC-910 from anywhere from the Radio Museum thinks it's 68 on, and other places say it's like mid 70s. So I'm gonna say like 68 to like 74-ish. And I'm sure you guys will know before I finish that sentence exactly how old it was. I paid $35, and I love tape recorders. So I'm excited. This ought to be a lot of fun. And it's pretty complete. It not only has the tape recorder itself, which we'll take a look at, it's got a case. It still has the Sony branding on it. It's like a leather type of case. I mean, electronics don't come like this anymore. When you buy something now, it's like in a bubble wrap. What do they call that plastic stuff that is so hard and sharp, hard to open? It's like anti-theft packaging, and they just don't sell stuff in boxes with leather cases and stuff anymore. Sometimes old leather cases I think are kind of nappy and gross, but this one I think is really cool. And it, knowing that it's authentic, and it just needs a little wipe down, so we'll give it the Clorox treatment as I always do. But really, it's clean, it's in good condition. So let's see what we got with it. I have, you guys know me. I have a hard time staying out of stuff to review because I'm genuinely excited. I can't just, pick up something like this and put it on the shelf, for weeks and weeks without wanting to get into it. So I've made it about 24 hours, which is the limit. So it's Saturday as of the recording of this. So it's definitely coming fast and furious. By the way, before I get into this, I want to invite you to come over to our TikTok channel. There's a link in the description below. We just play records. We don't have the freedom on YouTube to play that much music content, but over on TikTok, we can play up to 3 minutes. So I do a lot of records over there, and you're welcome to join. Also, to everybody who joined us Friday for the Vinyl Nation episode, thank you so much for your support. If you are not yet a member of Vinyl Nation and want to get an exclusive weekly show and other exciting benefits, join us. That link is down below as well. Okay, let's get into it. So first thing we have is a power cord. Now this is exciting to me because, a lot of these little tape recorders are battery only. And this one does run on batteries, but it does include a power cord. So I am excited for that. This is also back when they actually gave you some length of cable instead of like a 1 meter cable. This is, I don't know how long that is, but long enough. And even a little tie down. So, you know what I mean? Like it's not, you don't feel like they're cutting corners back at this era. You feel like, you get your money's worth. It's a quality product. So here's what it looks like, although you saw the thumbnail, so it's kind of a giveaway. This is a similar form factor to the Electra. By the way, if you like tape recorders, as do I, you can buy them for anywhere from, $15, $20, more commonly up to $50, $60, $70, in decent condition. And it's a fun kind of side hobby to record collecting for sure. But yeah, there it is, the Sony Matic 910, the owner's manual. Again, just quality at every turn. It shows some of the accessories. Oh, interesting. I don't think mine has a mic. So it may be missing that, but that's a similar form factor to that Electra for sure. Sort of that sloped front. Shows you how to put in the batteries. Instead of a full color, guide here, we have a 2-color, but they picked 2 cool colors. And yeah, so operational manuals are cool to have. Back when they put pictures in manuals, I missed that. And then the certificate on the back. Again, you really feel that you are getting something that is quality. And this, Sony, this is long before Sony, became sort of this cheaper type product that just rebrands Malaysian and Chinese products. This is most certainly made in Japan. All right, so let's pull. It's upside down. Of course, I do everything upside down when I unbox it. I don't know what it is. You know what this is? This is bizarre what this is, but this is a phone tap. I don't know if this is an original accessory or not, but this literally is designed to suction cup onto the back of a telephone. And kids, that was before they were, smart devices, just an old, dumb telephone to record your conversation, which, why? I don't know. It's an interesting use case. Why would you want that? I don't think I'll ever use that. But, what else can you pick up with this? You know what I mean? Can you stick it to the side of a speaker cabinet and record? I'll have to play around with that one of these days. Okay, so let's flip this over and pull the recorder out itself. I think I have it in here upside down because this, I believe, is the bottom of the case. Okay, so there it is, the Sony Matic. Let's get a closer look. Before we do, looking in the bag here, we have an earpiece. I'll probably be chucking that, but that is an earpiece. And more exciting is a reel of tape, which is a time capsule of who knows what. So we'll definitely be holding on to that. I don't know what else is in there. We'll probably clean that out. And under the lid here, we've got all kinds of reels of tape. This is worth the price of admission alone. 4 reels. Oops. I'm a professional, I swear. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. I'm just an enthusiast who makes mistakes mostly and sometimes gets it right. So we have 5 reels of tape, and that will be probably the most exciting part. What is on the tape? Different colors, as you can see, different mixtures. I always say the darker the better when it comes to magnetic tape. These are 3-inch reels, and it looks like that's about the most it can take. Maybe a half an inch. Nah, that's about a 1/4 inch of wiggle room there. So definitely only, going to use a 3-inch, or they do make 1 and 2-inch reels, if you can believe it, with this. So here we go. Very 70s looking with the metal and the black and sort of the chrome knobs. We've got an on and off volume down here. We've got our tone control, our speaker. Our transport control is a knob, which is cool. The Electra used the piano keys, whereas this has those knobs. Down here we've got a meter, which will be the record and battery meter, pretty common on tape machines. So when you are recording, it shows you your peak level, and when you are playing back, it'll show you the battery level. The record switch, so in order to record, you pull back on that while at the same time putting it into play. And that is stiff. That is a stiff movement there. Here are the reels. I have yet to determine if this is a capstan drive or if it is rim drive. It's very common for these to be rim drive. Well, I'll show you why that's important here in a minute. Need to clean this up a bit. There's these tensioning pins right here to sort of hold the reel in place. And then to keep it quiet while it's in operation, this cover keeps the reels separated, which provides some sound isolation. Let's go ahead and look on this side. On this side, we've got some connections down here. We've got the 117 volt input. We've got monitor control, so that'll be a mono output, an aux in, which is great, a remote, and a mic. So again, a lot of those microphones have the built-in remote plug all in one, and they've highlighted the microphone jack in red to make it quick and easy. Going around back here, we just have some hinges. And on this side, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just a lift, just a finger lift for the lid. On the bottom here, let's see if we have a date code. That could be April 9th of 68. And I'm sure that a via Westlife will tell me exactly because he's really good at that. All right, how do we open this? Pull back and then, okay, it hinges out. Looks like it runs on D cells. We'll look inside there. Just quality all the way around. Very little corrosion. I don't really see any. Look how they put arrows scratched in there. Somebody did that just to make it easy, in case you couldn't tell by looking at that, but that's kind of funny. And then you can see some wiring in there. It's very heavy. This is probably where the motor is, I'm assuming. I don't see a motor speed adjustment. Got a little white thing sticking out. Almost looks like a little adjustment wheel, but I don't think it is. You guys know that I love running off of AC power versus batteries. The sponge on the back of this is like memory foam, not because it was designed that way, just because it's decomposing. It's sticky too. It'll probably be best to scrape that off before it totally falls apart. And the handle here, I'm sure had something glued on here, some sort of chrome inlay or perhaps a branded something there. Oh, looking at the manual. I didn't go to college for nothing, folks. It looks like it was just a black piece that was kind of glued on the inside of that. So that has been lost. Surely the glue just dried up and then the owner probably folded, took it off. That's pretty much it from a cosmetic standpoint. Now let's find out what's on those tapes, because to me, that's the most interesting part. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in and we'll thread up some tape. If it looks like wet, it's because I decided to clean it. I hadn't done that yet, so it's still drying a little bit. I also found in the bag, one of the things down in there that I thought was just a piece of junk was this. This is the original cleaning ribbon. So you would literally slide it back and forth to clean the head. And I'm gonna try and do one better. I'm gonna try and use a Q-tip, and I've got some isopropyl alcohol. But let's go ahead and remove this head guard here and see what we got. Oh, cool. So we got a nice big Sony head. And this is a capstan drive unit, which is the best. The good news is it's not rim drive, it is capstan drive, and it's got a nice beefy capstan there. And why that's a good thing is it means that the speed is a consistent speed, linear speed, from start to finish on the reel. Unlike a rim drive unit where the speed changes depending on how much tape is loaded on the reel. And we've talked about how and why that works in the past. But it's consistent on this machine. And on those kind, they're consistent if you play it on that machine. But if you take a rim drive recording and play it back on a capstan player, the speed will change. We don't want that. All right, so the bad news is that pinch roller over there, I don't know why it looks out of focus because it's really not, but that pinch roller is absolutely filthy. It is not brown in color, guys. It is silver, so that is a bunch of tape gunk. So we're going to try and get some surface stuff off with my Crosley goo here. This is the groove goo. This is good for the surface dust, and you can sort of jam it down in there, and it's really good for this kind of stuff, but you got to be careful because it will break off. So be gentle, but as you can see, it form fits into nooks and crannies and crevices, and I'll give it more detail attention with the Q-tip. But what we really need to do is scrub the heck out of that pinch roller. So I'm actually going to start with that. So that is a rubber pinch roller, and I know isopropyl alcohol will dry that off, but at the same time it works. I think Tecmon said something recently about another substance he likes to use. Look at that. I have never seen that much oxide rub off onto a pinch roller. That's crazy. That is definitely something you need to go in and detail with. I need to get some of those little sponges you can use that don't have the little hairs that can come off like a Q-tip does, and that would be a little bit better. That's on the wish list of things that we need, but in the meantime this should work for us. Hopefully it doesn't dry out the rubber. I did stick my thumb sort of into the corner of the pinch roller, and it does indeed have some good elasticity to it, so I think the actual rubber itself is fine. It's not hardened. So all right, well, I'm going to keep cleaning here. As you can see, I've still got work to do. I'm going to clean the head and all of the nooks and crannies, and then we will give it a listen. It was definitely dirty, a very used piece of equipment, which is good. I mean, I'm glad it's got used. I'm just obviously thinking to myself, how much use does it have left, because I want this to be a daily driver, as it were. And so yeah, I had 3 Q-tips that I completely used cleaning that up. It could probably use some more detail in the future, which shouldn't be that big of a problem. Because of the way the head is situated, shooting down like that, I can't do my fingernail test. If you kind of slide your fingernail like that forward and back across the head and it feels smooth, that's indicative of a good head in terms of the wear or lack thereof on the head. The tape path, having tape running across that tape head for so many hours and years, can eventually, sort of cut a groove into it. So I like to, on older heads like this, I like to kind of test it to make sure it's still smooth. Can't do that test without, further taking it apart. I did spin the capstan here, and it is a beefy flywheel behind there, a good heavy metal flywheel, no doubt. So that is good. Everything looks to be in good working order, just a whole heck of a lot of oxidation. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, you guys, my biggest fear, I can clean heads, I can, clean dust, I can, fix minor things, but if it comes down to a capacitor replacement or something, that's going to be a little bit more involved. We'll have to desolder the bad capacitor, put on a new one. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, if we can have something just working, then that will be good. So again, highly recommend this stuff. I'll put a link down below if you want to pick it up. It's sort of the go-to formula for cleaning up nooks and crannies, little dust and tape mechanisms like that. I've used it a lot in because it takes forever, even with a Q-tip, to get in those little nooks and crannies. So, all right, I've got a blank take-up reel here, which I'm just going to snap into position there. And let's start with the first reel and see what it is. I have no idea. This one will need to rewind, so I'm going to set that aside. Let's see if I've got one that's wound up. Okay, so this one's got a rubber band on it. And this is the time capsule stuff. Do we have a radio? Like, there could be literally, one-of-a-kind recordings on here, you guys. There could literally be some radio broadcast that doesn't exist anywhere else. So we're going to go ahead and, it's hard to do when I'm not looking at it directly. And we're going to go ahead and feed it in like this. I'm terrible at this. Just for the sake of being quick, I'm going to do it the quick and dirty way, which is to kind of put it through this little slot here, and we'll pull some of the leader through like that. And we can connect this, and we'll definitely do shows in the future where we connect it to speakers and do direct line feed tests and stuff like that. But this is a basic mono recorder. This is not a hi-fi recorder. This is made for dictation, for storytelling, recording news and audio of events and things like that. Maybe short clips of audio for people that are musicians that want to record their band a little bit. But this is a consumer recorder for everyday recording use. The stuff you would use your voice recorder in your iPhone or your Android. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens.
There it goes. There's a loose connection on this son of a gun someplace. Anyway,
good information.
We're glad to get your tape and hear about the girls, and also glad to know that Dean is feeling better. I know that's a horrible feeling. I ate too much crab one night up here, which I don't like anyway, but I was wishing I could die, I think. It was really bad. Picture of your new Jeep is beautiful. Shirley and I are kind of going along with wondering what the hell we should do if we come up here to work summers and go outside, get a motorhome, or get something and haul a trailer. But we've almost decided that we'll just buy a trailer and leave it up here with the old truck I bought, and then just drive back and forth.
This is priceless, you guys. This stuff is priceless.
I think maybe that'd probably be the best for us.
What year could this be?
I can see where that Jeep would just about answer your every need.
Sounds great. It's sharp. It's bright.
And with all the extras you got, it ought to do anything you want it to do. Just had a telephone call from Jeff. We received your tape today, and then we got a telephone call from Jeff. And the calls are just too damn short to get all the information you want. He's only allowed to talk so long, and bang, and he's out. he gets a half an hour a week to something to write letters, and so the letters have been just about as bad as the telephone calls, nothing really to talk about. But we did gather that he's doing real well, and so your unity prayers and our prayers and everybody else's that we know are evidently a real help to it, because I think he's really doing fine. He's put on 10 pounds so far. And this is his 4th week, so another 20. He ought to gain 20 pounds, just about like I did when I was in there or more. And so we'll hope for the best. And he sounds good. Didn't sound demoralized. He just sounded happy, and things are going right. Interested evidently, and in their pitching. And he went in with quite a few, and some of them have dropped out. And gone down the tube and what have you, and he's still in there. So I think it makes it feel pretty good, and that he's passed his test. Every so many weeks you have to take a review of what you've done, and if you don't pass...
So guys, this thing sounds fantastic, and then to fast forward, you just flip it like that. When you want to play again, you put stop and then into play mode.
It's just kind of fantastic the way your paychecks...
sound quality is amazing. It's sharp. Fantastic quality.
So that isn't too shabby.
I just keep wondering, what year could this have been? What year? Talks about a Volkswagen, talks about a Jeep. I mean, it'd be really interesting if it was, back in the 70s. I feel like it's not quite that old, but what an interesting thing. So this is essentially like a phone conversation, but instead of, talking on the phone, makes tapes and sends them. So I'm assuming these are all conversational tapes, and rather than play all of them, I'm going to kind of skim through them and see if we can find something interesting to listen to. This reel on the left is really pinched, and so the tape doesn't like coming out of there, kind of catches a little bit. So far this one sounds blank. So this tape is blank. We'll go ahead and rewind it as best as we can. That reel needs to go. It is definitely past its prime. Yeah, that didn't go so well. Look at that. Yeah, that's why it's important to have a decent reel. That's on me, guys. So luckily there's nothing on that tape. I could probably re-spool it, no problem.
Throughout the long and difficult period of Watergate, I have felt it was my duty to persevere, to make every possible effort to complete the term of office to which you elected me. In the past few days, however, it has become evident to me that I no longer have a strong enough political base in the Congress to justify continuing that effort.
I just found the lost Watergate tapes.
As long as there was such a base, I felt strongly that it was necessary to see the constitutional process through to its conclusion. That to do otherwise would be unfaithful to the spirit of that deliberately difficult process, and a dangerously destructive...
This is President Nixon resigning, you guys. This is crazy. It's not the Watergate tapes, but it is very historic in nature.
That the constitutional purpose has been...
What else is on here? This is exciting. So I went through 2 reels that were blank, and then this is the last reel that came with the machine. After this, we'll do a record test, but I wanted to see what else is on here.
Will be in good hands. In passing this office to the Vice President.
This is crazy, you guys. Cosmetically, this little metal faceplate comes up here a little bit. A little glue would fix that. The knobs are a little noisy, so I definitely will want to put some, deoxit or some kind of cleaner in there, but works great.
A tremendous time in the history of our nation and the world.
He's talking still.
There's been a time of achievement in which we can all be proud.
Political speeches have a tendency to go on and on. Yes, I will archive and back up all of this stuff. Don't worry. This is historic in nature. I know that's not the only copy of this speech, but it is cool. See what's next.
Even starvation.
Oh, he's still talking. Okay. He's got to cover all the bases. We're just to starvation at this point. There's probably a lot more. And this might just be the Nixon tape. Not that that's insignificant. That's cool.
I've touched you tonight as long as breath of life in my body, I shall continue in that spirit.
This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. You never know what you're going to find on these tapes, you guys.
People of all nations, and of all of our children.
Okay. I will have to check that out in further detail. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, and the last thing I'm going to do in this video, is I'm going to grab one of the blank reels and we will give it a sound test. See what it sounds like. That'll be a microphone sound test. In the future, I want to do some music tests, some direct feed audio tests, and really, test out the quality of the audio, the music reproduction. There's one thing to record the human voice, but for instance, on the Electra, as soon as we put, music into it, it sounded terrible because it wasn't designed for that. It was designed for the frequencies and tuned for the frequencies of the human voice. So far, I'm really feeling like it was worth $35 and then some, guys. This is awesome. And I've read a lot of this particular model, the 910s, are still working. They're known to still be working. So obviously a very well-designed piece of equipment. All right, I've got my Panasonic, very simple microphone here. It does have the remote switch, although the plug doesn't have the remote plug anymore, so it will not be able to do that functionality. But basically, you can cue this up on record and then hold it in the stop position until you're ready to go, and then you flip the switch and the reel starts spinning. So we've demonstrated that kind of stuff before, and we'll do it again in the future on this one too. But to cue up your recording, all you do, and by the way, I've got some new old stock tape on there that's been recorded on like once, actually probably testing the Electra. You can see it's got the cool green leader on. You put it to position, play position, while holding down the record switch. So now it is recording. All right, we are now recording on the Sony Matic 910 tape recorder. And instead of making you listen to me create the recording, I am simply going to play back the recorded audio. Okay, so the final thing, let's play back our test recording. And hopefully we can... All right, we are now recording on the Sony Matic 910 tape recorder. And instead of making you listen to me create the recording, I am simply going to play back the recorded audio. I will note really quickly before that you can see the VU meter dancing from my vocal there. So this is a fantastic, fantastic recorder. I'm very happy to have it. To me, this kind of a tool will really lend itself to a lot of experimentation and use case in the future on the channel. My mind is, already, going crazy with all ideas of things we could possibly do with it. A very, very neat device. All right, you guys, that is going to do it for today. I hope you thought this was a fun show. It certainly was fun to put it together for you guys. If you haven't done so already, definitely give me a thumbs up. Consider joining some of those other cool things that we've been doing lately, like TikTok and the members only Vinyl Nation. Would love to have you along for the ride for there. But that's going to do it for now. Happy record hunting. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful weekend, guys. God bless. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope that you enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed. You'll notice I'm not quite touching this thing. I don't know how I feel about that yet. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.
Crikey, mate. I'm here in the wilds of north of Denver. And there's corn as far as the eye can hear. And the ear of corn. And we're looking and taking pictures for wild animals. Crikey!